In Tears of the Kingdom, the Master Sword is alright, honestly. It does good damage, but it's fragile, and it doesn't do a lot of damage. And while it's supposed to be used against Ganon specifically, it's still quite a shame. And frankly, I think it needs a buff. Let's talk about the durability first. The base durability of the Master Sword is 40, which is actually really good for a one-handed sword. It beats out the Royal Broadsword by 5, and it is beaten by the White Sword of the Sky and the Scimitar of the 7. However, here's the huge issue about the Master Sword's durability. You can only gain the additional durability from fusing once, and I mean once. This would mean that if the Master Sword had gained durability from fusing before, it cannot gain durability from fusing again, even after a recharge. This alone makes the Master Sword extremely fragile, as being stuck at a base durability of 40 allows it to be outclassed by even a decayed Traveler's Sword in terms of durability. The only time where the Master Sword is truly unbreakable is against Ganondorf, but it still shouldn't be as fragile as paper outside of the Ganondorf boss fight. Anyway, back to the issue about the Master Sword. I believe this is a bug, because while Nintendo logic is questionable, I don't believe it's on this level of asinine, where a decayed Traveler Sword with something fused on it is more durable than the goddamn sword that seals the darkness. Anyway, let's talk about the damage of the Master Sword, which I'm gonna say it's good. It's only good. That's all I can say. Of course, all of y'all should know that it does a base damage of 30. However, when it's charged, it actually doesn't do 60 damage. It actually does somewhere around 45 damage when dealing with gloom-infested enemies, but it actually does 60 damage only against Ganondorf though. But what if we were to fuse a material on it? Will it follow the same formula when affected by a modifier? No, it won't. Instead of using the same formula, for example, a Soldier's Broadsword, where the total damage is multiplied double for every Flurry Rush hit you do, the Master Sword instead multiplies the base damage of 30 by 1.5, which makes it 45, and then adds the damage of the fused material. See the huge gap in damage? Yes, the damage is still good, but if it's substantially lower than the Soldier's Broadsword by that much, it's not a good glass cannon. The result of a very fragile weapon on top of just alright damage also makes this sword just alright for overall usage. Yes, the sword can recharge, and you'll most likely be fighting every now and then, but still, it's outclassed by the Soldier's Broadsword in almost every way. And it's just sad, because without that durability caveat with fusing, it could have been a good side grade to the Soldier's Broadsword, like a more sustainable sword. But until then, it's just for fighting Ganon. That's it. So how can we buff the Master Sword? Well, the sword needs to gain durability from fusing per every recharge. That's one definite thing they need to do. The second option, though, would just be to increase the durability on the charged Master Sword, just like in Breath of the Wild, where it consumes less durability per hit. Now, my third option would be to combine option 1, which was fixing the durability thing, on top of making the Master Sword follow the same formula with the exception of the 1.5 multiplier as opposed to the 2 times multiplier against gloom enemies if you're not fighting against Ganon. Well, that's it. See ya.